The Covered Bridge Dogmen of Pennsylvania. First, Summit Cut Bridge. I can't believe I let my boys talk me into this. It's midnight, and we're driving out to the Summit Cut Bridge in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. My 3 boys, all under the age of 15, are begging me to take them out to see the bridge and maybe even hear and see some ghosts, like the White Lady of the bridge. I know it's a bad idea, but I can't say no to their wide-eyed faces and the excitement in their voices. As I already mentioned, the Summit Cut Bridge is located in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. It's a historic landmark that dates back to the early 1900s. The bridge spans over a deep ravine that was once used to transport coal and other goods through the region. The bridge has an interesting history, I think. According to the National Register of Historic Places, the Summit Cut Bridge was constructed in 1910 by the Pennsylvania Bridge Company. It's made of steel and concrete and is 420 feet in length. In 2006, the Summit Cut Bridge was added to the National Register of Historic Places. Visitors to Beaver Falls can drive or walk across the bridge to see stunning views of the surrounding area. My 3 boys, all under the age of 15, are begging me to take them out to see the bridge and maybe even hear and see some ghosts. I know it's a bad idea, but I can't say no to their wide-eyed faces and the excitement in their voices. The Summit Cut Bridge is steeped in folklore and legend. One such legend speaks of a ghostly presence that lurks around the bridge. It is said that a woman with a baby was crossing the bridge when the horse-drawn carriage fell into the creek below. Both the mother and child drowned, and their spirits are said to haunt the bridge to this day. Some claim that the apparition of a woman holding a baby can be seen walking across the bridge at night. Others reported hearing strange noises, such as the sound of children's laughter, when there is no one around. Another eerie legend surrounding Summit Cut Bridge states that a group of young people were hanging out at the bridge in the 1950s when a car approached with its headlights off. The car collided with one of the youths, killing him instantly. It is believed that the ghost of the young man still lingers around and haunts that bridge. Visitors reported seeing a ghostly figure walking across the bridge at night and hearing strange noises that they can't explain. Despite these ghost stories, the Summit Cut Bridge remains a beloved historical landmark in Pennsylvania. When you get there, it's not really like a covered bridge or anything. It just looks like another part of the road. But when you look over the edge, that's when you see the train tracks far below. That's why I pulled my kids back from looking over that edge. So now back to that night when I was driving my boys there. As we pull up to the bridge, my heart starts to race. It's pitch black outside, and the only light we have is from the headlights of the car. We all pile out, and I can't help but feel a sense of unease. The boys, however, are thrilled. They're running around and shouting, hoping to attract some spirits. I try to keep my eyes peeled, but I'm distracted by their energy. And then, it happens. A deep, terrifying growling noise starts to emanate. I feel a chill run down my spine. The boys stop in their tracks, and we all stare in horror as a huge, 10-foot-tall creature emerges from the darkness. "That's no ghost," my eldest shouts. He's right. It's a dogman, and it's coming straight for us. I scream for the boys to run back to the car, but they're too scared to move. The dogman is growling and snarling, walking closer and closer on its hind legs, just like he was a human being. I grab their hands and I start pulling them back toward the car. We scramble into the vehicle, but the dogman isn't done with us yet. It bangs on my hood as I start to scream louder than the kids. I start the engine, and the sound seems to frighten the beast, so it backs off, and I hit the gas, screeching out of there. It starts to chase us down the road, its deep voice reverberating through the night. I'm stomping the gas pedal as hard as I can, trying to get some distance between us and that terrifying creature. Finally, we reach the highway, and the dogman stops chasing us. We're all breathing heavily and shaking with fear. I can't believe what just happened. Looking back, I'm not sure what possessed me to take my boys out to that bridge in the middle of the night. But one thing is for sure, I'll never forget the terror of being chased by a dogman. As a mother, I urge all mothers out there to take care when letting their children go on legend trips, or even consider banning the practice outright. There are real dangers that come with these pastimes that cannot be ignored. While it may seem like harmless fun to search for the paranormal, the truth is that many of the places associated with urban legends are located in dangerous areas. Trespassing on private property, venturing into abandoned or condemned buildings, or exploring remote areas where wild animals roam free can lead to serious injury, or worse. Additionally, the heightened emotions and fear associated with legend tripping can make it easy for children and teenagers to lose their sense of perception and judgment. This can lead to them making bad decisions and putting themselves or others in harm's way. As such, I implore all mothers out there to take the responsibility of their children's safety seriously and to think twice before allowing them to engage in this type of activity. Instead, we should be encouraging our children to pursue hobbies and interests that are both safe and fulfilling. In conclusion, legends and folklore are an important part of our cultural heritage, but we must be mindful of the dangers that come with these pursuits. By taking care when going legend tripping, or possibly even banning the practice entirely, we can ensure that our children remain safe and free from harm. The previous opinion does not necessarily reflect that of the management. 2. The Cowan House Howler. Dear Scary Stories NYC, as my wife and I set out on our legend trip to see the Cowan House covered bridge, I couldn't wait to see the historical landmark that we had heard so much about. We had packed snacks, water, and a paper map to go with the GPS on both of our phones, but somehow we still managed to get lost on the way there. If you don't already know, the Cowan House covered bridge is located in a remote area of northeastern Lycoming County, Pennsylvania, and it's known for its historical significance as well as the legends and mysteries surrounding it. The bridge was originally built in 1877 and was one of many covered bridges that once crossed the streams and creeks of that area. The legend associated with the Cowan House covered bridge is that it's cursed by the ghost of a young girl who was supposedly brutalized and murdered near the bridge in the early 1900s. According to the legend, her grieving mother placed a curse on that bridge, vowing that it would never stand on its own for more than 7 years at a time. Since then, the bridge has been destroyed and rebuilt several times, and many locals claim that it is cursed. Other stories suggest that the bridge is haunted by the ghost of a man who was hanged from one of the rafters, or that it is home to a group of mischievous spirits that like to play pranks on visitors. Despite these legends, the Cowan House covered bridge remains a popular attraction for tourists and history buffs, and it is recognized as a National Historic Landmark. As we drove toward the Cowan House covered bridge on the winding road that night, we marveled at the beauty of the Pennsylvania countryside. On both sides of the road we could see tall oaks and maples, their branches just starting to bud with new green leaves. As we approached the bridge, we noticed the fields on either side of the road were teeming with wildflowers, their colors shining in the dying light of the day. The sight of the brightly colored blooms and the sweet scent of the wildflowers wafting through the air made me feel alive. We stopped the car for a moment to take in the view and marvel at the surrounding nature. We could only hear the sound of the nearby creek gurgling and the birds chirping in the distance. It was serene and peaceful, a welcome departure from the hectic pace of the city. As we approached the bridge, we saw that it was nestled deep in the forest and that the thickets had gained an eerie appearance with only a few spears of light making their way through the trees, which had grown even thicker over the years. As the sun began to set and the darkness settled in around us, we finally arrived at the entrance to the building. We parked our car and got out, but the hair on the back of my neck stood up as I felt as though we were being watched. Our tranquility was abruptly interrupted as soon as we heard rustling from the nearby bushes. I felt a shiver run down my spine as we looked out into the darkness, and we watched as eyes began to shine in the faint light. Suddenly a loud growling noise echoed through the trees, and my wife clutched my arm with fear. From the darkness, a towering figure emerged, with glowing golden eyes and sharp teeth. It was the legendary Pennsylvania Dogman, and it was coming straight for us. I grabbed my wife's hand, and we ran toward our car, but the creature was fast and seemed to be closing in on us. As we sprinted toward the safety of our vehicle, I could hear the heavy breath and paws pounding the ground behind us. With adrenaline pumping through my veins, we finally made it to the car, and I frantically fumbled with the keys to unlock the door. We dove inside and slammed the doors shut, the sound of the dogman's snarls and howls filling the air around us. I could still hear him, but I wasn't sure where he was any longer. As we peeled out of the parking lot and sped away, I couldn't shake the feeling of terror that had taken hold of me. The Cowan House covered bridge may be historically significant, but I knew that would have no bearing on the fact that I would never forget the night that we encountered the Pennsylvania Dogman outside that bridge in the darkness of the night. 3. The Sachs-covered bridge in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I remember the night vividly when I brought my first girlfriend to the Sachs-covered bridge in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I had heard that it was one of the best spots for a romantic getaway, and I thought it would be a perfect place to take her. We were both in high school at the time, and I was doing everything I could to impress her. If I had known I was driving my girl right up to the doorstep of the Pennsylvania Dogman, you can bet your life I would have chosen a different place to serve as our lover's lane that night. For those of you not from the area, Sachs-covered bridge is a historic landmark in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This charming wooden bridge can be found on Waterworks Road and is one of the few remaining covered bridges in Adams County. Over time, Sachs-covered bridge has become shrouded in mystery and legend, but its history is fascinating and well documented. The bridge was built in 1852 by David Stoner, a local builder and businessman in the area. The bridge was commissioned by nearby residents who needed a way to cross Marsh Creek, which was an essential water source for the town. The bridge was named after Peter Sachs, a prominent local farmer who owned the land around the bridge. Sachs-covered bridge was constructed using a Burr arch truss design, which was patented by Theodore Burr in 1804. This type of truss was widely used in the 19th century and provided superior strength and support for bridges, making them more durable and able to support heavier loads. In the early days, Sachs-covered bridge was a popular meeting place for residents of Gettysburg. It was a common place for social gatherings, picnics, and even an occasional dance. During the Civil War, the bridge played an important role, as it was used to transport soldiers, medical supplies, and other vital materials across Marsh Creek during the Battle of Gettysburg. Over the years, the bridge has been repaired and restored several times due to damage caused by weather, flooding, and general wear and tear. In 1959, the bridge was almost destroyed when a truck carrying a load that exceeded the bridge's weight limit attempted to cross. The structural damage was so significant that the bridge had to be disassembled and stored until it could be restored and reassembled in its original location in the early 1960s. Despite the many repairs and restoration efforts, Sachs-covered bridge still maintains its original charm and character. Its unique design and rich history make it a popular destination for visitors to Gettysburg. However, its history is not without its spooky side. Legends and rumors have been associated with Sachs-covered bridge for many years, including ghost stories and strange occurrences. One of the more popular stories is about a young couple who were crossing the bridge one dark night when the horses pulling their carriage suddenly stopped in the middle of the bridge. The couple reported hearing strange whispers and seeing ghostly apparitions before the horses suddenly started moving again, allowing them to escape unharmed. Another legend associated with Sacks-Covered Bridge is the story of a farmer who became lost in the nearby woods. After wandering for hours, he stumbled upon the bridge and decided to rest there for the night. According to the legend, the farmer was never seen again, but his ghost is said to haunt the bridge to this day. While it is impossible to verify the accuracy of these legends, they add to the allure and mystique of Sacks-Covered Bridge. Today, visitors can still visit the bridge and admire its unique and beautiful design, snap a few photos, and see what they might find for themselves. One thing is for sure, Sacks-Covered Bridge has a rich history and a mysterious aura that will always be a part of the Gettysburg story. As we sat in my car by the bridge, we talked about everything under the sun. We were so engrossed in each other's company that we barely noticed anything else around us. However, that all changed when my girlfriend suddenly gasped and grabbed my arm tightly. I followed her gaze, and I saw a big, hairy beast crawling out from under the bridge and walking toward us on two legs. This was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. It looked like a mix between a bear and a human, and its eyes glowed in the dim light. I was frozen with fear, but my girlfriend managed to ask, "Is that a dogman?" Neither of us knew what to do, and I couldn't help but wonder if this was the origin of the legends of trolls living under bridges. For a moment I felt like we were in the middle of a horror movie, but then we both regained our senses and knew we had to get out of there. Both of us screamed, and I quickly revved the engine, speeding off into the night. We didn't slow down until we were miles away from that bridge. Years have passed, and she's married to someone else now. We still talk about that night sometimes on social media, though. It's one of those memories that you don't ever forget. Victor O, don't you know, donated using Super Thanks Go Go Go. Please join us in thanking Victor O, who used our Super Thanks button under each of our YouTube videos to donate to us and make this episode possible. As advertising dollars shrink, YouTube is depending on you guys out there to support the channels you watch and keep us online. We're no longer being promoted by the algorithm, and we can't make enough money to survive and keep going. This is why you see us trying anything we can, sponsoring products or whatever comes along, in an attempt to keep the wheels greased. We really are depending on individuals like Victor O more and more, just to keep the lights on and keep some oatmeal in my belly. If you would like to see us stay on the air, then please consider listening to some of the ideas presented by this next little feral fellow named Henry Lee Dogman. Oh, Henry. Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that when it cuts off after I think 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.